discussion. So, the film industry is ever evolving as entertainment options have significantly changed with the introduction of new technology. Responses to the emerging algorithms largely reflect our generational experience. That with baby boomers, that's my generation. Born after World War II until 1964. We were the early adopters of personal computers when the first IBM PCs and Apples appeared. Yet at the same time, all of our telephones were landlocked, hardwired, and there were really only a handful of television networks. Going out to the movies was really an important social experience. Then we come to Generation Xers. Now they're born from 1965 to 1976. And they lived through the rapid rise of cable TV, video games, and the internet. Their experience is really one of swift, innovational entertainment changes. Next comes the millennials, born from 1977 to 1995. Now they were introduced to channel surfing, together with asynchronous watching with DVD. Entertainment is now no longer bound to a specific viewing time. Generation Z, born after 1996, I think you might qualify.
Oh no, I'm 95.
So, the Generation Zs are the on-demand digital generation. Their entertainment options are defined by what they want and when they want it. Now, last week's Wall Street Journal, which is a primary media outlet in the United States, proclaimed a new era is dawning in the entertainment world. The next 18 months are going to be the most interesting in the history of the entertainment business. The streaming wars are here. Now, streaming technology, the different services, VOD, SOD, MOD, AVOD, we've got the whole alphabet. From the titans of media and technology, now offer consumers an overwhelming abundance of TV shows and movies representing different genres from around the world. This streaming revolution has spurred the development of a new content creation using smartphones and other inexpensive digital devices that is finding expression on new content sites. A consumer today has the ability to stream a multitude of shows on a multitude of devices simultaneously with 4K clarity. And this dynamic has disrupted the traditional business side of the industry. Theaters today are being effectively challenged as the primary destinations for film viewing by the on-demand streaming services. Netflix, for example, makes it so very easy for consumers to decide against going out to the cinema and instead to spend their dollars or euros on subscriptions instead of tickets. You can engage a film when, where, and how you choose. Just last Tuesday, Disney announced its streaming service, and on Wednesday, the following day, had 10 million subscribers. I mean, that's an incredible reality. and they expect before the end of 19 to be having more than 90 subscribers. So focusing on the United States for a little bit longer, it's my home base. Only 46%, less than half of the adults, visited a movie theater during the year. And to make the situation even more challenging for production companies, 83% of the North American market share now falls within large conglomerate studios, including Disney, Warner, Universal, Columbia, Paramount, and Fox. So how can independent production survive in this new film community dynamic? For those here who have already produced a film, distribution and marketing challenges are a priority for consideration. How is it possible to cover production costs and realize a return on film investment? And it's important to have realistic expectations. As a filmmaker, I have joined several supporting organizations in order to network with my peers, as well as to access timely research on our industry. For example, according to a recent study by the International Documentary Organization, the IDO, about 42% of the documentary filmmakers reported that their most recent film did not generate any revenue, and less than 22% reported enough revenue to cover production costs. Realistic budgetary projections need to be made accordingly. And I encourage all of you to affiliate and network in order to be as informed as possible. And unfortunately, there really is no single place or space for filmmakers, especially new independent filmmakers and producers, to go to pitch your film. It is unlikely that anyone is going to really direct you with whom you should go specifically, or who might be approaching you and say, join me, but who can be trusted? Now, think about this. Last month, as reported in Variety magazine, Distributor, which was charging a substantial fee to get your independent movie on Netflix and all other major streaming services, closed down, leaving many independent producers, quite frankly, in limbo, having already paid the fee, and they're not being streamed. Problematic. Now, you're going to be getting a number of different handouts, and you might have already from me. One is going to be from Liz Manishill of the Creative Distribution Initiative. And I applaud her for putting together an introductory resource guide, and that's just a snippet, to help define the protocols within distribution organizations. Take CBS Films as an example. When asked about submissions, they responded, and I'm quoting from her report, they do not consider material submitted on an unsolicited basis. All submissions must come in through an agent, manager, or lawyer. FilmRise as an alternative. Another distributor responded, quote, blind submissions are perfectly acceptable, and we don't mind persistence in following up. Entertainment One, in discussing their global acquisition strategy, explained, again a quote, obviously much of the conversation nowadays is focused on new forms of distribution and consumer viewing habits. Looking for material that can have a life on digital VOD, SVOD, AVOD is very important to us because it is harder to capture an audience's attention than ever. What is to be noted when reviewing this distributor information that Liz has provided, and you can go to www.sundance.org, and I encourage you to do so, is the importance of film festivals. Although it has become much more difficult to access distributors through the front door, they do attend film markets and festivals to search for films. But it's genre specific. Keywords, genre specific. So you have to choose your festivals and your festival submissions and film market participation accordingly. Go where you're going to be best potentially received. And as the number of festivals expand, and they are, the festival organizers are also being challenged. This is my pitch to you, sir. In order to attract submissions, you gotta get more than 900, and to maintain their competitive edge. So last week, I received an email from the Canadian festival, ComFest, and they announced, quote, "We are happy that we are partnering with video platform XCRB TV to launch a subscription streaming channel featuring films and filmmakers that have been a part of ComFest, the festival, over the last 14 years. A new creative platform that I think you and your team ought to consider as you are moving forward." Now, the new online distribution platforms need to be carefully considered as part of a marketing strategy. YouTube, it created a film distribution revolution when it presented a new way for viewers to watch not just movies, but also television. So filmmakers can create YouTube accounts, upload their films, and let their friends and family create a promotional buzz. However, if you're really looking for a revenue stream, then you really should consider Amazon Prime's direct video. It's a good discovery platform and pays you, although not much, every time someone streams your film. It is filmmaker friendly, but you do have to meet their standards for uploading, which include closed captioning. But as an alternative, Amazon has now launched Create Space, media on demand. Now on this platform, you can submit your film and all artwork electronically, completely free. Your film will be available for purchasing on Amazon.com as professionally produced DVDs. Yes, there are fees that Amazon will charge for these DVDs, but they also handle royalties and payments that will be given to you, the filmmaker. And whenever you choose and wherever you choose to upload and stream your film, remember to add self-promotion to your to-do list. Create and update your IMDb page and seek press coverage, even if it means sending out your own press releases. Make certain that your own personal, I'm going to put this one into my quotes, viewing army goes online for the viewing opportunity and provides the positive feedback necessary to encourage others on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., whichever portal you choose. And finally, how can new independent production be funded? Development funding is increasingly difficult to get. An additional issue is, okay, personal financing. How much can you put into your own production? Well, there still are grants to be received, and you will have a grant list that has been passed around. Grants are available for public broadcasting, but also foundations. Digital technology has also helped conceive crowdfunding as a new access way to capital. There is Kickstarter and Indiegogo as but two general crowdfunding sites. And again, there is an additional site called Seed and Spark, which you will have received a handout about, that has a specific filmmaker focus that includes distribution. Take the time to assess how to use crowdfunding as a capital resource asset. And these are but a few of the complex challenges that filmmakers need to address in order to provide short and long form say that 5 times fast, but my grandchildren would say, that will be available via festivals, subscription services, premium cable channels, social networks, and other digital means. The film industry will continue to change, technology will continue to develop, distribution and marketing techniques will continue to evolve, new and creative funding opportunities will continue to emerge. However, the need for storytelling will be ever present across the genre. And I wish everyone here patience, perseverance, and the best of luck in all that you do. Get a chair, come on over. I invite you over.
Okay, thank you for that. It was a really insightful presentation. We'll open the floor for questions as well, if anyone has any questions, but I personally wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
So it's really, as you mentioned, everyone is choice-based viewing now at home.
Mm-hmm.
People can go to Netflix and pick what they want to see. So how does a filmmaker or a festival organizer overcome the challenge of dragging those people out of their beds and coming and attending a cinema hall or a festival? How do you address that? Do you go for more social media, for example, making memes, asking them to come, or holding contests? Like how does that happen?
A lot is really, it's a partnership, okay, between the filmmakers and the festivals. If I'm going to travel, and I'm speaking anecdotally over a number of years, I want to make certain that the festival is going to provide as diverse an audience for me to meet my goals as the filmmaker. So if I have a film that is focused on, let's say, individuals with special needs, I want to make certain that the festival is going to enable the messaging as a documentary to be shared with either those who have family members with special needs or marginalized by their respective communities, so that it becomes something that I want to do, and I will share on my website that I am going to there was in Indonesia, there happened to have been a festival that was specifically focused on those with handicaps. And Indonesia as a country still, there are places where they shackle those with special needs to a bed. That was a compelling reason for me to say, I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to go, and I want my film to be seen by the Sultan of Yogyakarta and his community, because he's in a position to make a difference as a leader. The other piece for the festival, though, is to be able to communicate to me, yeah, we're going to have the Sultan of Yogyakarta there, and we're going to have the media, the television, who will then do a live interview with you after the screening for a discussion about the special needs community and how we can improve things in Indonesia. So it's really a marriage that has to occur between the festival and the filmmaker. Once you've made your decisions as to who you are selecting to then screen their product.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions in the audience? Okay.
So we all know how to find festivals to submit to, but what about sort of the emerging market for VODs that might be more geared for independent filmmakers than your Disney or Netflix? Is there any kind of directory or listing of?
There really isn't, unfortunately. I mean, every single country has got its new and emerging portals. As I was just describing with Canada, the marriage between Comfest and XBER TV, creating a new streaming portal. You're going to have to, and that's why I suggested earlier in my remarks, join organizations, whether it's becoming a member of the International Documentary Organization, or if you don't want to get involved with the Screen Actors Guild or any of the union-oriented organizations, there are others that provide you with information. Film Take is one email provider of up-to-date information. Variety is another provider of up-to-date information. You really have to take the time to identify the resources wherever you are residing. And it's changing, really, every week. And what's happening is an overwhelming launch of new product on all of these different sites, which comes back to your question, how do you then create the buzz to attract viewers? And that's where the filmmaker really has to, I call it the viewing army. You've got to contact all your friends. You've got to say, I'm now on, I've got a Vimeo link, or I've got, Amazon Prime, or I'm on whatever site I am on. Go there, watch, feedback, create a buzz. Contact the radio personalities or television personalities where you live. Invite them to go online and see what you've done. It's hard work. You can't take it for granted. Because of the abundance of product in the market today. And as the Wall Street Journal said, these are streaming wars. And in order to keep your head above the water, you really have to work at it.
Thank you. Oh, one more.
Yeah, I got one question, but maybe I'm starting a whole different discussion, which I don't want to, but I just wanted your opinion. We've talked about online distribution, but when I'm in the cinema, like yesterday, for example, and I see all these short movies, I'm like, wow, these films are made for big screen,
brilliant.
and I'm so excited about that. I was wondering, do you have any experience with like the old-fashioned way, like renting a cinema, selling your own tickets for 1 week or 2 weeks, and then move on to different country or different state? Did you do something like that that maybe you could tell us about?
Well, yes, but you have to have the pocket to rent.
Isn't it expensive, huh?
Well, let's put it this way. 2 of my docs actually qualified for Oscar consideration in the States.
Okay.
Now, to qualify as a documentary, you have to have been screened for a week in a commercial theater in either New York or Los Angeles.
Whoa.
Okay?
There are also film festivals that qualify you for
Yeah,
the Oscar.
but they, in addition to the festivals, they still want a commercial screening. Because the way, okay, there's the broad sending of your DVDs, and then as you get past the initial screening, you've got to get into the quarterfinals, and then you have to get into the semifinals. And they really do want to see that you've been commercially viable. It's part of the pitching to go down the line. So what does it cost in that market?
Or is it worth it? Can you break even?
Can you break even? Probably not.
But the little markets are cheap. I mean, if you're not going for an Oscar,
Again,
you can you can rent a theater in a small market.
yeah, Terre Haute, Indiana is not much.
And there might be small markets. I've done it. I've four-walled and I've also self-distributed.
For what is that you go with?
You buy it yourself. Okay.
Oh, and then you sell.
It's called four-wall because you buy all 4 walls.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So, but you can do that in small. There might be a small market that is particularly interested in your subject, or where you have a lot of friends, or where you shot the movie, or there's something like that, and then it's much easier in the small market to get the local newspaper to review you.
Yeah.
Like, you can open in a big city and the newspapers won't even cover it, which means that nobody will come because that's how they find out about you. And you know, but it's challenging. I mean, there was a doc that came out this year called Desolation Center, and it's about the indie music scene, in a punk rock music scene in LA in the 80s or 90s. And I saw an ad for it and I said, oh, that looks cool, you know, so I went, and the theater, it was like the 2 of us sitting there. And that's in LA, and it had to cost them a lot of money.
Right.
Just because LA and New York are really expensive to do anything in LA and New York. If, you know, even if you get into a theater, to get anybody to notice you. And it's really hard to break through because you're competing against all these other things. So it is nice to see your work on a big screen, but audiences don't care the way filmmakers care. They're happy to see it on Netflix.
Or at home, with a better popcorn.
Yeah, right.
We can surely discuss it in more detail later on, but for now we're short on time, sorry. We'll have to move on to the next speaker.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So our next speaker is Jade Zian.